They called him the Phantom. For 6 years, a blackjack dealer at the Stardust Casino walked out with more money than most people dream of making in a lifetime. $50 million, not through gambling, not through luck, but through skill, discipline, and techniques so sophisticated that even the most advanced casino security systems could not catch him. His name was Richard Marcus, and he was the most successful thief in Las Vegas history. But here is the twist. He did not go to prison. He did not spend his life running from the law. Instead, he walked away free with his money and became a casino security consultant. This is the story of how a casino dealer stole $50 million and convinced Vegas to let him walk away. Richard Marcus was not born a criminal. He was not a man who had always dreamed of stealing from casinos. He was a blackjack dealer, a working man who dealt cards day after day in the casinos of Las Vegas. He started as a young man, learning the game, understanding the mathematics, understanding the psychology of the players. He was good at his job. He was very good at his job. He understood blackjack better than most people who played it. He understood the odds. He understood the strategy. He understood what made a winning hand and what made a losing hand. He understood how to read people, how to see what they were thinking, how to know what they were going to do before they did it. But as he worked as a dealer, year after year, he began to understand something else. He began to understand the weaknesses in casino security. He began to see how the casinos protected their money. He began to notice where the vulnerabilities were. He saw how the pit bosses watched the tables. He saw how the surveillance cameras were positioned. He saw how the dealers handled the chips. He saw the patterns, the routines, the places where security was tight and the places where it was loose. He saw the moments when the pit boss was distracted. He saw the angles where the surveillance cameras could not see. He saw the procedures that were followed and the procedures that were sometimes skipped. Most dealers would have ignored these observations. Most dealers would have been content with their salary and their tips. But Richard Marcus was different. He was intelligent. He was observant. He was ambitious. And he saw an opportunity. He saw a way to make more money than he could ever make as a dealer. He saw a way to beat the system. He saw a way to take what he wanted without getting caught. And he had the discipline and the skill to do it. In the early 1990s, Richard Marcus began to develop a technique that would change casino theft forever. It was called the Savannah Move. The technique was deceptively simple, but it required perfect timing, perfect execution, and nerves of steel. Here is how it worked. Marcus would place a small bet on a blackjack hand. Let us say he bet $100 the hand would win. Just before the dealer paid out the winnings, Marcus would switch the original small bet for a much larger bet. Instead of winning $100, he would win thousands of dollars. The key was timing. He had to switch the bet so quickly that the dealer, even though it was him, would not notice. He had to make the switch so smoothly that the pit boss watching the table would not see it. He had to make the switch so perfectly that the security cameras that were watching every move would not catch it. The technique required incredible skill. It required years of practice. It required an understanding of human psychology, of how people see and do not see, of where they look and where they do not look. It required an understanding of misdirection, of how to draw attention away from your hands while you were making the switch. It required an understanding of timing, of knowing exactly when to make the move so that it would be invisible to everyone watching. And it required nerves of steel. One mistake, one moment of hesitation, one tiny slip-up, And the whole thing would be exposed. The pit boss would see it. The surveillance camera would catch it. The casino would know. And Richard Marcus would go to prison. But the Savannah Move was just one technique. Marcus and his team developed dozens of variations. They would swap losing bets for winning ones from another player's stack. They would add chips to a winning hand during payouts. They would use sleight of hand to move chips from one place to another. They would use misdirection to draw attention away from their hands while they were making the switches. They would use Confederates, people working with them, to distract the pit boss at crucial moments. They would use psychology to make the dealers less suspicious, to make the pit bosses less attentive, to make the surveillance operators less vigilant. Each technique was a masterpiece of deception, a perfect combination of timing, skill, and psychology. And each technique was designed to extract money from the casino without being caught. Marcus understood that the key was not to be too obvious, not to win too much in a single night, not to attract attention. He understood that the casinos were looking for big wins, for dramatic moments, for things that did not fit the pattern. So he made his wins small enough to blend in, frequent enough to add up, but not so frequent that they would be noticed. What made Richard Marcus different from other casino thieves was his discipline. Most thieves get greedy. They win big and they want to win bigger. They take more risks. They make mistakes. They get caught. But Marcus was disciplined. He never got greedy. He took only what he needed. He never tried to win too much in a single night. He spread his wins across multiple casinos, multiple dealers, multiple tables. He operated with a small, controlled team. He never brought attention to himself. He never bragged about his wins. He never spent his money in ways that would attract attention. He did not buy fancy cars. He did not buy mansions. He did not gamble with his stolen money. He lived a quiet life. He was invisible. He understood that the key to success in theft, like the key to success in any business, was consistency and discipline. You did not become successful by taking one big score. You became successful by making small, consistent gains over a long period of time. You became successful by being patient. You became successful by understanding that the long game was more important than the short game. And Richard Marcus played the long game. He played it for 12 years. For 12 years, Richard Marcus and his team stole from Las Vegas casinos $50 million. That is millions of dollars per year. That is thousands of dollars per day. And for 12 years, the casinos could not catch him. The security systems could not catch him. The pit bosses could not catch him. The surveillance cameras could not catch him. He was a ghost, a phantom, a man who could walk into a casino, steal thousands of dollars, and walk out without anyone knowing what had happened. The casinos knew they were being robbed. They knew that money was disappearing, but they did not know how. They did not know who. They did not know when. They were helpless against him. They called in security experts. They installed new surveillance systems. They trained their pit bosses to watch for suspicious activity. They created protocols to prevent chip switching. They hired consultants. They spent millions of dollars trying to catch the thief. But nothing worked. Richard Marcus was always one step ahead. He understood casino security better than the people who designed it. He understood the blind spots in the surveillance systems. He understood the weaknesses in the training. He understood how to exploit every vulnerability. He understood that security systems are designed to catch obvious crimes, not subtle ones. He understood that if you were careful enough, if you were smart enough, if you understood how the system worked, you could steal right in front of the cameras and no one would know. And most importantly, he understood how to stay invisible. He understood that the key to not being caught was not to do anything that would make the casino suspicious. He understood that if he was careful enough, if he was disciplined enough, if he was smart enough, he could steal millions of dollars and no one would ever know. He understood that the best theft is the one no one knows happened. But eventually, all thieves get caught. Or at least, that's what law enforcement officials believed. In the mid-2000s, the FBI finally built a case against Richard Marcus. They had a tip-off. Someone had given him up. Someone had told the authorities who he was and what he was doing. They had evidence. They had enough to arrest him and charge him with theft. The case against him was strong. They had surveillance footage. They had testimony from casino employees. They had proof that he had stolen millions of dollars. It seemed like an open and shut case. Richard Marcus was going to prison. His career as a thief was over. His freedom was gone. His life was about to change forever. But Richard Marcus was not just a thief. He was also a smart man. He understood the law and he understood how to work the system. He knew he was facing serious prison time, that he could spend decades behind bars for what he had done. He also knew he had something valuable that the casinos wanted. He had knowledge of how to steal from casinos, the vulnerabilities in their security systems, and techniques that could defeat their defenses. He understood that this knowledge was worth something, perhaps worth more than his freedom, or at least that the casinos might think so. He hired Oscar Goodman, one of the most famous lawyers in Las Vegas, a man known for defending mob bosses and high-profile criminals. A man known for getting his clients out of impossible situations. Goodman was a legend in Vegas. He had defended some of the most dangerous men in the city. He had won cases that seemed unwinnable. He had negotiated deals that seemed impossible. And now he was representing Richard Marcus. Then Marcus did something brilliant. He leveraged his extensive knowledge of casino security vulnerabilities. He offered to teach the casinos how to catch thieves like him. He offered to help them improve their security systems. He offered to become a consultant to help them understand where their weaknesses were and how to fix them. He offered them a deal: let me go free and I will help you prevent this from happening again. I will teach you how to catch thieves. I will teach you how to improve your security. I will teach you how to protect your money. The casinos faced a dilemma. They could prosecute Richard Marcus, put him on trial, and expose all of their security vulnerabilities in court. A public trial would reveal exactly how he had stolen $50 million. It would show the world, and more importantly, it would show Wall Street, that casino security was not as good as they claimed. It would show investors that their money was not as safe as they thought. It would damage investor confidence. It would hurt their stock prices. It would be a disaster for the casino industry. Shareholders would be furious. Regulators would investigate. The whole industry would be under scrutiny. The trial would be a media circus. Every news outlet would be covering it. Every detail of the theft would be exposed. Every vulnerability in their security would be revealed. Or they could make a deal with Marcus. They could let him walk away, and in exchange, he would help them improve their security. They could fix their vulnerabilities before anyone else exploited them. They could keep the whole thing quiet. They could avoid the public trial. They could avoid the embarrassment. They could avoid the damage to their stock prices. They could avoid the regulatory scrutiny. They could make the problem go away. They could turn the thief into a consultant and learn from him how to prevent future thefts. The casinos chose the deal. The state agreed to the deal. Richard Marcus pleaded guilty to a single misdemeanor. Not a felony. Not grand theft. Not theft by deception, a misdemeanor. He paid a $100,000 fine, $100,000. After stealing $50 million, he paid $100,000, and then he walked away. He walked away free. He walked away with the rest of his money. He walked away with his freedom. And he walked away with a new career as a casino security consultant. This is where the story becomes truly remarkable. Richard Marcus, the man who had stolen $50 million from Las Vegas casinos, became an expert on casino security. He wrote books about casino theft. He gave lectures about how to prevent theft. He consulted with casinos on how to improve their security systems. He became famous in the casino industry, not as a thief, but as a security expert. The man who had outsmarted every security system in Las Vegas was now helping casinos build better security systems. The man who had stolen $50 million was now teaching casinos how to prevent theft. It is almost like they hired the thief to catch the thieves. It is almost like they decided that the best way to understand how to prevent theft was to learn from the master thief himself. The story of Richard Marcus raises profound questions about justice, about the law, about the nature of crime and punishment. He stole $50 million. He should have gone to prison. He should have spent decades behind bars. He should have faced serious consequences for his crimes. But instead, he walked away free because he had something the casinos wanted: knowledge. He had knowledge of their vulnerabilities. He had knowledge of how to steal from them, and they were willing to let him go free rather than expose those vulnerabilities in court. It is a story about power and leverage. It is a story about how a clever man can outsmart the system. It is a story about how the wealthy and powerful will sometimes bend the rules to protect their interests. It is a story about how justice is not always blind, how it is not always fair, how it is sometimes negotiated behind closed doors by lawyers and casino executives who care more about protecting their reputations than about punishing crime. It is a story about how the system can be manipulated by someone smart enough to understand how it works. The legacy of Richard Marcus is complicated. On one hand, he is a thief. He stole $50 million. He broke the law. He violated the trust of the casinos that employed him. He took money that did not belong to him. On the other hand, he is a genius. He developed techniques that were so sophisticated that they could not be caught by the most advanced security systems in the world. He outsmarted every expert, every system, every protocol. He proved that if you were smart enough, if you were disciplined enough, if you understood how the system worked, you could beat it. On one hand, he should have gone to prison. On the other hand, he outsmarted the system and walked away free. He is a criminal, but he is also a success story. He is a cautionary tale about casino security, but he is also a testament to human ingenuity and discipline. He is a man who took what he wanted and faced no consequences. He is a man who proved that the rules do not apply to those who are smart enough to exploit them. What do you think? Was Richard Marcus a criminal who deserved to go to prison, or was he a genius who outsmarted the system? Should the casinos have prosecuted him, or was making a deal the smart business decision? Did justice prevail, or was Marcus allowed to escape punishment because of his leverage? Is he a hero for outsmarting the casinos, or a villain for stealing $50 million? Should casino security be so easy to defeat, or is Marcus simply a master of his craft? Did the casinos make the right decision in letting him go free? Would you have done the same thing if you were running a casino? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more stories of billions lost in Vegas, make sure to subscribe to Vegas Billions. Thanks for watching.